Hello guys, welcome to the channel. Welcome if you're new. I'm Stacy and today we're going to be doing a few more squares on this second card that I've created. If you've been here, you saw the first one and how I cut it up into cards. This one I'm going to do the same. We're going to do two more of the squares. I'm zooming in a little bit there. Starting with a brush pen, and I have a bunch of these pens. They're waterproof. I have multiple sets and multiple sizes varying from plastic nibbed brush pen to just the regular nib in various sizes. I want to do a little mountain landscape. So I'm using the side of the brush pen to get that darker side of the mountain in, and then the very tip. The brush pen's really nice, this one, because it's got just enough flex to use on its side, and then you can get a nice firm point still. For all the detail work, I'm going a little heavier than I want to. Oh, sorry. Goodness, pardon my yawning. Just because I'm out of practice with pen control. Just keep going in. I'm running on instinct. I don't have any reference photos up. I'm just making it up as I go. And I'm thinking about a mountain range in the background, blending into distant rolling hills. Haven't really thought about the sky that I want to put in it. And my granddaughter keeps interrupting me while I'm doing this, so when my hands disappear, it's because she's handed me another picture that she's drawing. I'm just putting in super distant tree lines here, which are mostly blobs. If you want to draw distant tree lines like this in something small, you don't have to worry about it looking like an actual tree. Distant blobs, smaller as they go back, smaller as they go back. And then putting something large in the foreground to give that sense of depth also helps quite a lot. And I do love to do a nice ink drawing, but over the top of this pink, the whole point of putting the pink down was to get rid of extra gesso that I had colored pink to put on a canvas, which I'm still not sure what to do with. And I had extra gesso, so I spread it on a couple sheets of paper, this watercolor paper that I had laying around, and then I spread it on some pages in one of my sketchbooks, like throughout some of my sketchbooks, and just let them dry. So they're waiting for me to use them when I get that far. And the thought pattern was to have the pink peeking through whatever I decide to create on top. And I see other artists do this. They use that underpainting and let it purposefully peek through or shine through by using thin layers to tint and lend a mood. To me, it feels like it lends a mood to the piece and continuity if you're doing a series. Like if you want to do a series of landscapes, maybe do an underpainting of all the same color and let that peek through all of the different landscapes you do. Whether or not you stick strictly with the same palette from landscape to landscape, they will still feel like they go together as a set because of that underpainting bleeding through and carrying from piece to piece. And I like that thought pattern for creativity. Decided to put in some foreground tree trunks. I want to do an autumn landscape because it's fall, right? Close, it's getting there. We fall back in with our time here pretty soon. Yeah, I decided a few foreground pine trees of various sizes, kind of looking like they're going down the hill now. To get a pine tree to give that direction, you make the base of that pine angle a little bit in the direction that you want the land to roll. And then I have a bunch of my wands for my pan pastels, which have a lot of residue on them from using my pan pastels, and I don't ever clean them unless I'm going to do another piece right away. So I just stuff them in this cup, and I use the residue on the backs of them all the time in various pieces. So that's what I'm doing here. I'm using up some purple, laying that in to give a little bit of shadow, dimension, touch of reality. Reality-esque. And this one, this poor wand, this thing, the nib is replaceable. It pops out of the red handle. So I can replace it, but the one that's on there is falling apart. I've roughed it up on some very textured paper on the last piece I did using pastels and kind of ruined it a little bit, but that's okay. A little bit of blue in the foreground there. And then I lost some of the crisp light coming through the tree trunk, so I grabbed my white colored pencil. This is a Prismacolor. If you see me using a white colored pencil, it's a Prismacolor. And that's not working well enough, so I grabbed my bleed proof white. No. I grabbed the bleed proof white to put the snowy peaks on my mountains back there. This is one of my fine detail brushes, and just tapping. I want a nice dense coat. And you can use the bleed proof white very thick or super thin like a wash. Just honestly depends on how you feel about it. Bleed proof white has been a game changer for my creative process. As you can see, it works wonders for snow and stars and bringing back white and light where you've lost it. And I decided I want to go ahead and put in a blue sky back there. So I'm using it's Dr. P.H. Martin's Bleed Proof White. If you're interested, it will be linked below. And then these are my King Art artists. Oh, they're on the table over there. Gel sticks. They'll be linked below as well. I got a nice big set of them for Christmas 2 years ago, and my granddaughter and I use them all the time. But that's what I'm using here to put in the sky, because these, like pastels, will dry matte and completely. They won't smudge once they're dry. I'm trying to put white marker in here to get the clouds to go in, but that didn't work because I don't have a white King Art gel stick anymore. I blew through those, and if anyone knows, I don't. I can't find a set of just white gel sticks. That would be handy to have, just an extra set of whites. So King Art, if you're listening, a set of 4 or 6 whites just to have for blending would be super cool. Maybe 4 whites and 2 blacks. That'd be cool. So I go in with the bleed proof white again and tap it in to get my cloudy sky. And I didn't cover all the pink where the blue is. I think it looks really pretty peeking through. And yeah. And between the trees, in case what I put over the trees doesn't cover completely, so my cloud carries through from one edge to the other. I really want to use that yellow. And I decide to. Autumn trees, and these gel sticks are amazing for that purpose too. They're like using pastels, but less messy because they're obviously in a container, and it works like a lipstick. You just spin the little black part and it feeds up more of the product. They're very soft, but like I said, the best part of them is that they are soft and blendable, but once they're dry, they're matte and they're completely dry. So you can use them in a sketchbook. And these cards are going to get cut and put into mini trading card sleeves, because at the end of the year, I would like to do to open up trading card swaps with fellow artists. I don't know if that's still an active thing, but I think it would be fun to do. So that is the thought. Otherwise, I'm just going to sell them as mini original art pieces on the website in the shop. I'm just tapping and scribbling and rolling with the punches and seeing what happens. And I like how vibrant the autumn day feels with that pink underpainting. It feels like one of those, crisp days, right? Where it's cold, not too windy, but an enjoyable temperature. You can get outside and it's just a crispy day. So I'm using a bright like lemon yellow and then like a yellow ochre kind of color. And that's not the formal names of these. This is like a sap kind of green. Or maybe phthalo. I don't know. It's a nice deep earthy green that I enjoy. So that's what I'm doing here. A dark green to give a little bit of depth. Pine trees in the background. I live in a place where there are lots and lots of pines. Evergreens. And then I lost the tree trunks a little bit, and here I am talking to Astrid again for a minute. And then I'm going to go in and with the brush pen again and grab back my tree trunks, make them more bold, because when you go over them with those gel sticks, they kind of disappear a little bit. Just like when you use any medium over your ink work, it will dull it down and make it less bold. Some mediums you can go over the top of. These gel sticks are really good for that. They allow you to go over the top without ruining your pens, which is nice. It's preferable to wait till they're completely dry. And I wanted a little more boldness back there, so I went ahead and tapped in where I've already got dark and then smudged it with my finger. Because when I put down the bleed proof white, it kind of got away from me. And this is what the desk looks like. This is all the stuff. And now we're going to jump into the next square. And this is also going to be a landscape. And my thought was to start with a bright spot. And in my head, I was like, nope, that should be white. And there I go, making a mess. Because my finger's dirty from the other painting. So, teachable moment here. Just wet it down. And well, it's still wet and malleable. And blot it up as best you can. Gouache mixed with gesso to tint it is what I did there. I squeezed a whole tube of pink gouache, because I have a couple, into my gesso and mixed it together. It won't re-wet because the gesso is a polymer based. It's an acrylic, so it dries and it's not going to come back up on you. Which is another good reason to do underpainting in either ink. You can use any kind of ink. Maybe not India ink, though. The India ink tends to be shiny, like a lacquer. The Dr. PH, I think, is that what I have? I'd have to go look again. The India inks that I have kind of work as a resist. Once you get them on the paper and they dry, working over the top of them with a wet medium tends to not work so well. But pretty much anything beyond that for an underpainting would be nice. You can use pastel, get your pastels down, and then water or alcohol, rubbing alcohol, to wash them into the paper and let them dry completely. Set in the paper, and you can do your piece on top of that. You can use acrylic, can be a nice base. Don't thin it out too much, but acrylic can be a nice base. Gouache mixed with acrylic, I've discovered, can be a nice base. It creates a really nice texture on paper too, which I enjoy. Now this one gets away from me, you guys. I'm shooting for a streaky sunset sky, and this is out of my head. I have no idea what I'm doing. But in my brain, there's a foggy forest, like you're in the woods and you see that view where you can see the tops of trees and the hills in the distance, and then the beautiful sunset. That's what I'm going for. Yeah. I struggle with this one. Um, and I forgot that the sun can read as a white dot that kind of disperses in the background. So that's what I'm doing here, is trying to get that hot sun, when the sun is setting or rising, either direction. At any rate, that's what I'm doing there. Little touch of bleed proof white to kick back that pink a bit all over pretty much on this card. And this yellow, I'm determined to use this yellow throughout the piece. And now I'm just going in and trying to get the trees in that I want in here. I wanted distant rolling hills. Not mountains, just distant rolling hills receding into the background. And then the foreground to be very autumn foliage, like bushes and brush kind of thing. And maybe some tree branches trickling in from the sides, or, top of a tree poking up from the hill and in front of us that's on a downgrade. And it kind of doesn't work out all that well right away. Going in with this pearlescent brown. I didn't realize it was pearlescent when I grabbed it. This is a thinner one. This is a Sketchbox. One of the Sketchbox set of 3, I think, that I got in one of my Sketchbox art boxes. And they just live with my other gel sticks because it makes sense. There we go. This one's more of a deep ochre. Man, those kids are loud today. Animals. I'm going for the muted distant hills right here. I will get some contrast going in a little bit here, but I struggle with this one. It's not working out. I'm feeling frustrated. I want that misty cloud resting in the trees and overlooking that. And it works out in the end, I feel like, but right now I am dissatisfied. So I'm concentrating on the foreground. I'm putting in the tops of pines. And this one, you wouldn't necessarily see the green of the pine because the glow of the day is so strong. And all of the reflected light. And then the stuff in the foreground is more on the dark side because of the way the light is shining. So it'll be more silhouette than actual green trees. And normally when I do that kind of thing, I would use the green in the foreground with other dark colors to make it feel like an evergreen tree. And there I go with the contrast. I finally grabbed that sepia kind of color, that deep dark brown. Oh, my granddaughter's talking to me again. She wanted me to take Ken's bracelet off. It's a hairband that she used as a bracelet for him. And I give it back to her. Now I can get back to my creativity. And she asked me, "What are you drawing?" I said, "A landscape." She said, "Oh." Went back to play Barbies. less than pleased. And these are very blendable, so you can tap them, you can smudge them, you can. I haven't used water with them because I don't feel like that would be helpful because they blend so easily together. They do dry pretty quickly when they're thin and blended, so you can put down layers, which is also quite enjoyable. And this is, I feel like, a really nice, bright, vibrant fall orange. So I'm trying for that glow way back there in the distance on top of the hills where the sun would hit. I don't know why I grabbed that colored pencil. I know it's not going to work. I keep thinking it's going to work and it doesn't. So here I am back again with that bleed proof white. And how you seeing me use it is how I use it. Sometimes I'll grab the cap if I need it thinned out, and I'll just put a drop of water in the cap and mix a little bit of the thinned bleed proof white right in there. Wow. Bleh. But I lost my fog, my cloud that's sitting on these, resting in these trees. It's like the trees snagged that cloud out of the sky and just won't let it go. So I'm trying to give that illusion, to tap that back in. I don't know if it works or not. To me, it does in the end, but yeah, that foggy cloud bank that just kind of rests in the tops of the trees in the early morning when the sun's coming up. It's so beautiful. It's a great way to have a cup of coffee and just breathe. And then, yeah, I grabbed the brush pen because I haven't done any line work. And I'm like, I should do some line work to get in, like, those naked trees. The trees that are bare with no leaves. Get those spindly tree trunks in there. Trying to remember that they don't need to be big. They can just be treetops. It's okay. And here's where I decide, I need to bring in some branches coming from the side into the piece so that it looks like I'm peeking out from the brush, right? So foreground work. And my brush pen, I'm deciding like what I want to do. And the brush pen will kick in here pretty quick. I'm trying to do a very light touch so I don't get too heavy of a line. Because if it's too bold right out of the gate, you can always make it a little bolder. But once it's down, right? You could go over it with the gel sticks and it would cover pretty well. But yeah. So here I'm with that dark brown first, getting in those crispy brown leaves, the shadows, and once again that silhouette kind of feeling. I think I like the first one that I did better because by the time I got to this point, I feel like I was overthinking it again. Instead of just going with the flow, I was processing too much. Surprisingly, because Astrid was talking at me off and on throughout the whole drawing process. She was playing Barbies and she wanted me to respond to her adventures. She brought all the dollhouse stuff out into the living room and set all her Barbie stuff up and made a store and the whole thing. And then my sky was not bold enough. So I decided to go in with that bright, bright yellow and try and make it more impactful. I don't know. I don't feel like it really worked, but it is what it is. And if you get these dirty as you're using them, excuse me, sorry. We only got a couple more minutes here. If you do get your gel sticks dirty as you use them, just keep a tissue near you to wipe them off, just like you would with pastels, your oil pastels or chalk pastels. A little bit of line work to give that contrast that I lost, and definitely there would be contrast in the base of the hills, right, where it would be super dark, the light's not touching, so that's what's happening here. A little more there. I don't know, it's not too terrible, but I feel like there's something missing. Like it's not quite right. There's not enough contrast. It doesn't read clear to my mind. Like if you just looking at this card as on its own as it stands, it's very impressionistic, and I guess you could see a landscape in there, but I just wasn't feeling it. So I'm making the branches coming in from the side a little more bold. And then I'm going to put a frame around this because I feel like that will make the contrast within the piece pop a little bit and give it that finished feel. Like on the cards, when I cut them up, I will edge them as well with ink to make them feel like finished individual pieces. And you'll see me do that in the last video that we do where we finish this up, which will probably be next week. We'll do probably 2 more videos, and then this will be a completed project. Yeah, I'm just trying for that contrast to get more of a forest feel, a dense forest feel. And I'm going to grab my ruler. There it is. I love this thing. It's heavy, it's thick. And do a bold line around the outside of this one. I don't do a bold line around the outside of the other one. I just don't know if it needs it. This one I feel like needed it. And then that's it. That's all we do. I'm going to work on the other ones in the next day or so. So you'll see those videos coming up next week sometime. Yeah, I think I'm going to do 2 separate videos. I'll do 3 in one and 2 in the other. Is the plan. We'll see how it goes. And that's how I'm going to work on the other ones, like in this mode. But here's a little close-up of each one. Let me know which one's your favorite. 1 or 2. Do you like the bold outline or not? Thank you for being here. And I'll see you guys in the next video. I'm letting you know how I'm going to work this. But yeah, that's it. That's all I got. Bye.